Does the title confuse you? Are you wondering whether it is a ghost story or a tale of love that leads to haunting, even after it has expired years ago? Let the story unfold itself as you go down to the very last word. Love can be one of the best feelings in the world, but can also be a traumatized disaster when in the wrong hands. But what if it has some extra spice? With some twist? What if it has some unscientific, creepy existence involved in it? Here is such a story about a young person whose life was to undergo an experience hitherto dreamt of. Arthur was a freshly graduated handsome fellow from a top university of the country. He was from the domain of civil engineering and had one of the finest minds among his mates. He was an intellectual fellow, but strongly an atheist. He did not believe either in God or spirit or luck. He always preferred to be addressed as a supreme believer in science only. Or, more precisely, a fellow who only believed in scientific reality. Not to forget, a constant top performer of the batch, and of his intellectual personality. He was the talk of the university and had lots of followers even on social media. But he was also a kind-hearted and down-to-earth guy, who always could be found near anyone who needed him, without any hesitation, and never let his academics or popularity come in to build some flaky pride issue. Now, what good is a college sensation without a relationship? Might sound cheeky, but because of his looks, he was indeed the absolute college crush. And among them was Angelina, a junior who was kind of desperate for him. There was not one account of him which did not have her. Not one post which had no react from hers. Seeming awkward that a civil engineering brat had such a gaga behind him, they introduced themselves on social media and gradually began dating. Of course, you can sense by now, almost all girls were jealous of her once they officially revealed their relationship. Worthy of mentioning, Angelina was a gorgeous-looking girl who hailed from a simple family. What added to her glamour was the fact that she too, like Arthur, never showed off for her looks, never asked for popularity, helped the needy, etc. But unlikely, by now, they had both been the official college couple. The main strength of their relationship was that it was filled with never-ending trust, blind but absolute love, caring characters, and no dominating mentality. Like a normal relationship, they too had fights, had quarrels, had no talk periods, but in the end, it was always their power of love for each other which outnumbered the causes to such unwanted battles. Both of them had a great time together in college. And after graduation, Arthur got an offer from a reputed construction company, who had been highly pleased while interviewing him. Angelina was on cloud 9 with her hubby, that's what she used to call him, and they both decided to get engaged. During the family meeting, it was quite obvious that Arthur would be accepted without any second thought. Everything was flowing like a water in a river on a moonlit night. The newly married husband, wife bought an apartment in close range from the former's office. Things blossomed up after a year when Arthur had been handed over the post of leading a new project. Both seemed so happy, one with the newly offered post, and other with the joy on the face of her partner. But little did they know what awaited them in near future. The site allotted for the new project was a haunted farmhouse, beneath which a girl carrying a baby was brutally assassinated by her drunk husband and buried somewhere in the garden. It was rumored that ever since then, any person who dared to stay there at night never came back alive. It was sometimes their body, chopped off, or parts separated, that could be found in the room where the girl was murdered. Locals feared to even reside in proximity to the residence. Some said that they had seen the ghost of hers roaming on a white shining gown on the roof of the house. She would lure in any person present there, and end their lives in a way she had been. And there was not a single person who had been able to escape her charm and flee from her evil plan. Arthur had been assigned the job of inspecting the land and convert the huge farmhouse into a weekend resort, as the company had bought it from the husband at a very profitable price. But they did not know about the dark secret it beheld. They soon arrived at the venue, and the young lad was mesmerized by the enigmatic view of the farmhouse, with the beautiful garden sprawling around the house, and the fresh aroma of the flowers made it just irresistible to deny stay at the place. Arthur was very stubborn to his work, and he requested the housekeeper, who had been summoned to clean the house, to quickly arrange for their lunch, as they would be beginning their work shortly. After getting refreshed and having lunch, they set out for the first day of inspection. It was a scheduled 21 days visit to make all the necessary plans, relevant designs, gathering information about the history of the place, and so on. His team comprised of 7 guys and 3 girls. By evening, they finished the day's work and sat down for a casual gossip, followed by sleep in their respective rooms. And this continued for the following days. It was from day 3 that the lightning finally struck them. On the 3rd day, while going to sleep, Anthony, a team member, encountered something going up the stairs to the roof. He was with Jack and told him if he saw anything, to which the latter bluntly refused, thinking it to be a casual issue. They both walked off. Around 3 a.m., Anthony heard a sweet voice singing a song. Looking out through the window, he saw a woman along the poolside. He was surprised at the scenario but did not risk it. Instead, shut the window and dozed off. The next morning, he narrated everyone the incident, and everybody laughed. But Arthur noticed something on the face of the housekeeper, a look that showed fear and surprise. But he did not say anything. That night, Anthony again heard the same voice around the same time at same venue. The same woman, in a shining nightgown. He decided to ask her. When he approached the poolside, he saw no one. Suddenly, he heard the voice again, this time from the rooftop. Following it, he came to find her on the rooftop and saw her, a face so tempting that none could refuse. As he approached her, she slowly faded away among the fog, and he couldn't find her. But he came across a room on the rooftop. The door was shut, but the lock was opened. He wondered if he could see her there, and as he approached the door, a cold breeze blew suddenly, and he heard a wolf scream far away. He got scared at it and thought of going down. As he was about to turn around, the door opened by itself, and it was dark all inside. Without thinking further, he started marching away from the door. Hardly did he walk 2 steps when the voice called his name. Turning back, she saw the lady, but her head was covered. As he moved his hand forward to unmask her, she bent her neck, and he heard a bone-cracking noise. He jumped at one go and raced towards the door to go down. Upon reaching, he found her waiting at it. He stood still and slowly looked at her. This time, her appearance was somewhat different. Her gown was drenched in blood, and a face, half-rot, with red fire-burning eyes. He screamed at the top of his voice but could not find a noise coming from his mouth, which caused him to faint. And the next day, everyone but him were found present. On being searched, his body was found inside the room, on the rooftop, with his head chopped off. A sight scary enough to drive the bravest into trauma. And it was quite normal that the following day, everyone decided to return. but Arthur needed to know the cause of it. He urged everyone not to panic, but also not to move out alone. The day later, Jack too reported seeing a lady, and by then, it was accepted without any denial that it was a haunted house, and they are being targeted. Arthur summoned the keeper, but he was also not available, as if he fled away. His team requested him to return and report the issue to a paranormal expert, but he openly denied the existence of any ghost and decided to stay alone, and asked his frightened team to return back. They fled, caring for their lives, but were strictly forbidden by their boss to not inform his wife anything about it. That evening, Arthur went to the nearby locals to ask about the history of the house. Nobody urged to say anything to him, except one piece of advice: to flee if he wished to stay alive. Fed up with similar answers all around, he sat on a tea stall and was lost in thoughts when the shopkeeper asked him, as he did not seem familiar with the place. He narrated everything, including his lost hope of knowing the exact past. He struck back when he was told by the shopkeeper to meet an old lady residing opposite to his shop in a small cottage. Arthur seemed very happy. He thanked the shopkeeper and brought some sweets for the old woman and knocked on her door, followed by a sweet greeting, and then introductions and purpose followed. After he narrated everything and the death of Anthony, she agreed to let him know the history and the haunting. What he heard could send a chill down the spine.